Okay, so we're back, and we're on book 40, which is Night of the Living Dummy 3, and like I said with the previous one in this series, within the series, Night of the Living Dummy 2, this one is a step above of the first one, and I actually think this one is a step above the second one. Like, unlike movie franchises, this series within the Goosebumps books has actually gotten better, at least within the original series. I'm sure the ones in the later Goosebumps series after the original series aren't that good. But this one's interesting. It's just about this girl. She gets a dummy named Rocky, and she's trying to be a ventriloquist performer, and she has a brother, and their dad actually has a whole attic full of dummies, as demonstrated by this cover here, with a bunch of them centered around Slappy. And their dad brings a new dummy home named Slappy and puts him in the chair with all the other dummies in the attic. And it's the start of summer vacation, and the main character and her brother's cousin comes to stay, and they don't like him because he's a fraidy cat, and they like to rag on him for being scared of his own shadow. Shit starts going weird. Things keep turning up wrong, and Trina and her brother keep getting the blame for it, even though they didn't do these things. There is a bit of a twist in the middle, where it turns out the cousin was actually punking everybody the whole time. He was actually arranging these dummies in these weird locations and doing shit to freak everybody out, as kind of an act of revenge for what Trina and her brother had done to him the previous summer. Well, stuff keeps happening, and they even confront their cousin, and they're like, dude, stop. It's not fucking funny. You got us really in big trouble. Quit fucking with us. And their cousin is like, I'm legitimately not doing this. And surprise, surprise, dummies are alive, and they're walking and talking. In keeping with traditional Goosebumps formula, especially that they use, Slappy himself doesn't actually start doing shit and going crazy till the end, because you got to build up that atmosphere and that tension, getting to that last part of the story where things actually start happening for realsies. That's kind of a predictable thing, and I really don't mind it, because Slappy's the best part of these, and saving him to the very end, when there's this kind of like final confrontation, is better than just having him running around doing shit like Chucky. So, that's a good call on that part. Sadly, this is the last of the Night of the Living Dummy books in the original series, which, considering it actually made up to 3, that's more than most of the other books in the series made up. Even ones with sequels usually only have 1, like The Curse of the Mummy's Tomb and The Mummy Returns, Monster Blood, which actually has 4 books. Deep Trouble only had a sequel, Deep Trouble 2. Haunted Mask only had Haunted Mask 2. So, usually if these books got a sequel, they were usually only 1. This one actually was one of the few that made it past 2 sequels. So anyways, it's pretty much my thoughts on it. I actually like this one the most of the Night of the Living Dummy Goosebumps books. I find it to be the most interesting. The story is the most fun to kind of read, and there's a lot going on in it. And also like how it does play with your expectations halfway through, and reveal that the initial goings on aren't of supernatural origin, but just their cousin being a little shit. So that's pretty much my thoughts on Night of the Living Dummy 3. Tune in for my next one, which will be book 41, which is Bad Hair Day. Oh boy.